I'm joined today by Gary Lane. He's senior international correspondent at CBN News. How you doing, Gary?
I'm doing great, Billy. Glad to be with you.
Well, I wanted to talk with you because a number of reports out there about God intervening in amazing ways in the midst of this Ukrainian-Russian conflict, this brutal invasion by Russia into Ukraine. We're obviously seeing lots of headlines about that battle, but amid those headlines, there have been these amazing stories, these claims of God intervening. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I've got to tell you, Billy, I haven't been able to verify this, but I think it's amazing. There are a lot of Christians in Ukraine talking about this. But last week I talked to our CBN Ukraine director, and I said, look, tell me, are there any miracles going on? He said, yes, as a matter of fact, there are. There was a member of our church whose son went to the front lines, and he and his battle group were facing the Russians, and he called his dad on a cell phone. They still have cell phone service. And he said, Dad, you've got to get people in the church praying because I don't know if we're going to make it through this. We are fighting overwhelming odds here. The Russians are just so large, and they have all this mechanical equipment, tanks, and armored personnel carriers and anti-aircraft stuff, you name it, artillery. And he said, I don't know if we're going to make it. So the father got off the phone. He called members of his church, and they started a prayer chain, and they started praying nonstop for their men in the field and for this man's son. And the son called back later in the evening. He said, Dad, you wouldn't believe it. It was like a UFO or something. We've never seen anything like it. Just a brilliant flash of light. In the sky, just taking over the whole sky. We haven't seen that. We thought maybe the Americans are somebody had a weapon they were using. But we haven't seen this. And then the next morning they woke up and they said all the equipment from the Russians was destroyed.